I think many people know some of my work. If I'm here to answer any questions you might have. No question? Yes.
Why bamboo? Why bamboo?
I chosen bamboo because of the availability in Thailand, and to say this is a sustainable source of energy to build and use in a charcoal gasifier or in a waste heat style gasifier. And that means they can plant very easily their own fuel. So everybody can plant so easy the bamboo in Thailand. Plus the growing rate from bamboo is 5 times more per acre and its speed than you can plant any eucalyptus, for example.
So you've undoubtedly seen the reback chunkers, but I've never seen you or heard you talk about using them for bamboo. And it seems like it would be perfect.
Can be used, but I'm not a person.
Can you repeat the question with the mic?
Oh, sorry.
Chunking bamboo.
Why?
Why have you not talked about using a reback chunker for the bamboo? I noticed you're splitting it and doing stuff.
Why I don't use the reback chunker, or we did not talk about. I think for my reasons this is existing technology which anybody can choose to use or not to use. So I'm not forcing someone to copy all of my work. I just make it possible that people say, oh yeah, I can do that. I have my way to do that. The reason why I chop off my pieces to the study is that what is possible, what is the pros and the cons of if I throw my material in my gasifier and what are my results if I repeat it with the same fuel. Are the results the same or not? Do I need to modify things? Because I'm a little bit like a crazy engineer who wants to test and test and test and test and test and then say, okay, this works. So then I can give a range. It says, oh, in this style of gasification, charcoal made from this, it takes this much energy, it takes this much charcoal, this much bamboo to do this job. So it gives more information to people to use it correctly or take the decision to say, oh, I'm going to do this. If I put the same bamboo chopped in with a reback chunker, and it's a bigger one, have different results. So that's one of the next. So what material I have available, I use that. What do people have available, I use that.
In Thailand, are the people more acceptable to alternative energy like you're doing to either run a vehicle or to use in a manner for their homes or whatever?
The people in Thailand are very receptive for any improvement. The difficulty is to find the correct words or the correct circumstances to say this is how to explain or to convince people to use what your idea is. The government is very supportive. They have a lot of programs to say, oh yeah, this we want to have to learn, to teach, to implement. So any of the work we do is being used already or implemented and they want to use that. The case is that they support groups, communities to exactly learn from us to use this. The people in Thailand are very like, oh, I can do that. And they come to the groups and they learn how to do that and they go home. Some succeed very fast, some it takes time and they have to do the follow-up.
What kind of mileage you get out of the bamboo?
The little tuk-tuk it drove, I will try it, I will have to put it first in metric. That means 6 kilograms for 100 kilometers. That means about 12 pounds for motorbike, you did 6 pounds for 60 miles.
In Thailand, about what is the average day's wage? And what's the price of a gallon of petrol?
Petrol and daily wages. Thailand has a minimum wage, but not everybody reaches that level. So the average wages for normal people, if they work, is about $10 a day.
$10 a day.
And the price per gallon is $4.
$4 a gallon and $10 a day.
Yeah. So some people earn a little bit more, but they take a credit for the car. And some people can only make $7 a day. So hard labor.
Bamboo is like a perennial, right? Grows back every year. You don't have to replant it. If you go through and you cut it down, how long does it take till it comes back up and you can harvest it?
It depends on the season. So bamboo has 2 basic seasons. There's a dry season and a wet season. You cut or harvest the bamboo for fuel purposes after the dry season, just before the rain season starts. And it goes to a ratio, you cut 1:3:1 comb. It takes 1 clump or rhizome. It takes about 8 years to reach full maturity. You can start using the bamboo for fuel purposes after the 4th year of age. But every year up to the 8th years, then it will full grow. So the 8-inch bamboo will first years will have 3-inch, 2-inch, small, subtly increased size.
Okay.
And grows very fast. If you do a total harvest, it will take a little bit longer before you can do the next harvest. Because you have to wait till everything comes back up. It grows that fast that in less than 3 months, they reach complete height. So one day you see it, and next day it's 3 meter high.
It starts out small and then it gets bigger around.
It has, when it shoots up, it almost has its original diameter. And then it just grows in the length very fast.
Okay. Wow.
So you harvest every year? Once per year?
You make, if we want to do for plantation for fuel, I have a scheme that says, okay, I cut this kind of percentage, and for 1 plug, I cut so many poles every year. And then you have to mark them. This is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then you cut them at the age rate you want to cut them. If you have 1 plug and you cut 10 poles every year, you let it grow 11 new shoots to make sure it's sustainable. Don't cut too much. So it grows, and after one certain period of time, you can harvest about 20,000 kilos for a quarter of an acre. So it's 40 tons. No, 40 tons.
20,000 kilos is 20
20
tons.
tons dry mass. And then every year.
For a quarter acre?
For a quarter acre. Yeah. That's why I choose bamboo.
Most of bamboo isn't leaves and limbs either, right?
It's the biggest part is the straight part.
Is there a moisture problem with it?
No. If I would cut it, the last time I cut it is just in the dry season. When you cut it at the dry season, you have about 40% moisture. I put it in the car. I drove, let's say, 600 miles. I came in the factory, I lost 20%. So after 2 weeks, that went down to 11%.
That's dry.
That's fast.
In Thailand,
That's in Thailand, yes.
in the humidity in Thailand.
Thailand is so high humidity.
Are you, a bamboo has nodes in it? And
Yeah.
each of those internodes is a cell, is a separate thing.
Yes.
You, to process it or for drying it, you must break apart at every one of the internodes?
No.
No, you can let it dry just,
If you look into the bamboo thing, if you cut a bamboo, it's all little straws, drinking straws. They go from the bottom to the top in one straight line. Yes, they pass the nose a little bit, but if it's dry, you can use it. You cut a piece of bamboo and use it as a straw to drink. So you take it all down. There are people, if they want to preserve the wood, they drill holes in the middle to make it more accessible.
So it doesn't, won't pop on you when you cook it, the charcoal?
It doesn't work, you know. But, oh, sorry, it depends how you cut it. So I cut small pieces, so I don't have the popping sound. If you put it in the fire, yes, it will pop. But if I make charcoal, I make sure I don't have these long pieces because it takes away too much space. So I cut it in small holes and put it in.
Do you have to, you know, like here when you grow wheat or corn, they put on a lot of fertilizer and a lot of stuff. Are the bamboo plantations farmed or is it just natural?
It should be farmed to have a continuous and sustainable result. Some people are kind of, oh, I planted and leave it alone for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and then they end up, it's not accessible anymore because at that point they have a rapid growth and they forgot to cut down the big pieces, so they have to wait 10 years and then they try to cut everything. So if you manage it, it's so easy to do. You plan it that you say, oh, I can use a spare space, I have a nice access. It's easy to do, but you have to put effort in it. Yeah. If you put effort in it, oh, it's perfect.
But for fertilization, the bamboo plant grows almost anywhere
Yeah.
very easily.
Yes.
They're not heavy either.
There are a lot of species available. That's the total count of species, 1,400 kinds, different kinds. Yes, there are species that can be planted everywhere, but if you have too much salt in the sun, nothing will grow, but still the bamboo will grow. Be it a little bit slower, a bit different, but it will grow.
Is Japanese knotweed bamboo? We have it growing up wild in Maine, and it looks like bamboo, but I don't know if it is.
Japanese have bamboo, but I'm not sure which kind you're referring to.
It's just called Japanese knotweed.
Okay.
John, Japanese knotweed, you
I'm not familiar with it.
it's not a bamboo, it's a reed. Or wood.
We have that stuff wrong.
Japanese knotweed, I understand, is a reed, R-E-E-D, not
reed,
not a bamboo.
It's not a bamboo.
It's just another type of reed.
But you have bamboo is very small and long. You have like a big bamboo, giant bamboo.
I mean, just like miscanthus is not bamboo, but it has similar structures and things like that.
The part is, I'm not as much in having the know-how about all the types of bamboo. What I do is that if you have bamboo, you can create energy. The same as in USA, like Wayne says, if you have wood, you can travel. So if I say I have wood, the people in Thailand say, no, we don't have. Not sufficient, because all the people, they cut off all the wood to burn it or make charcoal for any purpose. The bamboo they did not touch, they did not cultivate. So I know India does a lot with bamboo. China, they just plant masses of bamboo because they want to use it. So if I say to them, use wood, then they will say, what wood? It's too difficult, I cannot do. Bamboo is available everywhere. So if I will start with bamboo tomorrow, I can start cutting already. It's for free. So you have to teach them how to make money with that. So if you cultivate it, you can have a nice income. Use it as food, as furniture products, building products, and you can get energy from it.
you're working out of a factory that makes rice noodles. That you're working with the people. They're kind of sponsoring it a little bit, at least with the space.
The factory I'm working now with started with, they are 80 years old manufacturers as a family company. The owners of the company, they came to the project I was attending in north of Thailand. They see what I can do with energy. The owner of this company is very interested in supporting initiatives to help farmers. So he see what I built, he followed up, he donated money to the foundation where I was working, and then he said, what do you need to make it industrial? So at the end, I came to his place because he had more facilities and all material available. So at this moment, he provides the means to build whatever I want. He supports me and my wife, and at the same time, I'm helping him with his energy needs in this factory. So we end up between two types, industrial and farmers. Because we want to donate the know-how to farmers, you need to earn money before you can give. So that's our mantra, that earn money by saving energy, using biomass, use your know-how. They save money, and that's what they spend on education and setting up like a training center, school, we spend. Any more questions? Yes.
Is there any other kinds of waste materials that are prevalent there other than the bamboo and say rice husks, but you haven't really talked too much about that?
Plastic bottles.
Plastic bottles? Well,
Yes, can do. The power of gasification. Anything what can be combusted or can be gasified will produce a gas. This gas is more or less clean. That's what we see on the internet or YouTube from many proclaimers. They say, oh, I can make benzene. Just ask him to light it and see what fuels it makes. So ask Wayne Keith to light his gasifier. No fumes, clean wood. It's about emissions. If we build, what we did already said we have a combination gasifier. We're working on to use waste, even for farmers, to use that in combination with the charcoal gasifier based on plastic combination with charcoal, and it works. It makes clean gas. If you use it on a Wayne Keith gasifier, yes, you can add a certain percentage of plastic waste to it if you do it controlled and no emissions, no problems. So why should we waste time with people who use a huge amount of energy to make waste plastic into fuel, what is polluting? Combination of gasification from wood or biomass with plastic. It's a win-win.
So do they cook with bamboo?
They cook with bamboo and they make very clean charcoal to even for sales, yeah. And it's one of the cleanest fuels which you can use to do barbecue. They have just bamboo, that is raw bamboo, they use it as fuel. And the most they use it for is for building purposes. And then at the end of the life, they just burn it as cooking fuel. A lot of bamboo now is used as food. The shoots, they just cut the shoots and they eat the shoots, and it's very delicious. So bamboo have food, clothing, you're making clothing from the fibers. You can make building materials, you can use it for making furniture, and at the end of life, you can put it in a gasifier.
Maybe you could make a sawdust stove.
One of the experiments I'm running at this point is some of us know what they do with paper dust or old newspapers. You can make insulation from it. One of the tests I'm conducting now is using sawdust to do exactly the same thing. But it's a running, an ongoing process now.
Briefly, or maybe not so briefly, your grand plan. You've done a lot of experiments. You know a great deal about it. What do you see as the future of actual implementation? Not what's possible, but what can be or will be done in relation to both the fuels and with regard to the gasification process for Thailand.
I think this is a tricky question
Yes.
because we're running a joke today.
Oh, no.
One of my goals and what I see as a possibility is that gasification, bamboo or wood, will replace the use of fossil fuels. A lot of people, they have no access to have a Tesla or a battery-driven car or any other clean fuels. They have been forced in the past to buy gasoline-consuming vehicle, and now thanks to Wayne, they have a possibility, so we can change that. So one of my personal goals is to make it more accessible to more people, to make a kind of advertising. We started a running joke today. I hope it will stay a running joke and get real. So in the news today, they started with, did you hear about the group in the USA? There is a group, they invented a device, they take the polluting CO2 carbon dioxide from the air and somehow they make their cars run on it. How did they do that? This is incredible news. Where is this group? It's about, let's say, 50 research engineers. They're working worldwide and they're doing this research for years already. So they take these gasoline consuming, these dyno fuel consuming vehicles and they make it run on carbon dioxide. So I have to admit, President Trump is right. That's a hoax, carbon dioxide. That's not a problem. Because I know a group, and they're doing it. They're taking carbon dioxide from the air and they run the vehicles on it. So can you do that? I think that's the future.
All you need is a tree. All you need is a tree.
That's a green tree hunter.
No, I mean a tree to take the carbon dioxide and make it into fuel.
Is it really that simple?
Turn your scrap wood into fuel.
How? That group is here and it's been in the news.
That's what we're doing.
Oh,
We're taking carbon out of the air to grow a tree, and we're cutting up, when the tree's at end of life, we're cutting it up into small carbon chunks and putting it in a gasifier and running a vehicle on it.
So
It just takes 30 years, the cycle, or with bamboo, maybe 5 to 10 years. But that's exactly what you're doing.
So I could do
That's
the
what
same
you're
thing.
doing. You are doing it.
Oh.
You're already doing it.
So
It just takes, it's not 30 seconds or 3 minutes or 3 days, it's a few years.
So they
That's
have
what
been-
you're doing.
So they have been planning this already long time, so it's a conspiracy theory, or it's real.
No, we're all conspiracists. You can just ask anybody.
So these are all real inventors that's trying, or not, they're not trying to save the world, they're saving the world. Wow. Yeah, who can do better? Oh, that's one who can do better,
No,
yes.
no, I can't do better. But, okay, so we have the design, we have the ideal to move a whole world or a nation like the U.S. to this idea of doing it on a large scale. How do we do that without involving the banks and Rockefellers and GM and Ford? Can we do that on the bottom level of the pyramid? Can we harness the abilities of the people that are interested into forming the groups, corporations that build, mass produce the devices that attach to the home or the car? Is that possible?
Simple answer is yes.
I can answer your question. We have a little nuclear war, and watch how many.
Well, I prefer to skip that step.
So, if we look into this, and this is the good news, since I understand that you're using this device called tree, I guess, to capture the carbon out of the air, turn it into energy source. I think Wayne has this device somewhere, but he puts it in and he runs his car. I've been in it, so I know it's true. So, but the more the good news is, even during driving, you can take carbon from the air and convert it into CO2. I've been busy with that a long time. So everybody who hears, oh, I'm making biochar to sequester it in the earth, I say, that's not smart. Because if you use the same technology what Wayne does, it means you turn carbon dioxide in presence of charcoal or the coal in the carbon in the fuel, you turn it into energy where your car runs on it. So I think Trump is right, there is no problem. There's just not enough, there's only 50 engineers in USA who are really actually doing what he claims.
I think there's a simple way. You got to start out small. It's what Wayne's been doing. Duplicate yourself. Teach somebody else what you know and let them do it, and then they teach somebody else, and it has to spread from here. I don't know how else to do it. To answer Robin's, duplicate yourself. Teach people.
I don't weld, and I would have a long learning curve before I could weld like Wayne does. All right. And now we have the technology through mass production to build gasifiers that would cost a lot less than we could if it were, as opposed to doing the way one man builds one gasifier over a period of several months. We can, between the computers and the machines, the factory type machines, we can stamp out, mass produce gasifiers so that the masses can afford them. Chris.
They've done this before.
Yeah.
They did it in World War II.
Right, they did it.
And you know why they did it then and why they're not doing it now?
They had
They had a need. They had no gasoline, and there was a huge demand to get people moved from point A to point B. And instantly, all the major car companies started building gasifiers. It's not a secret.
Right.
Right now, there's almost no demand for these things. You know, it's the elephant in the room. It's the gas pump down the street.
It's one of those chicken versus egg.
Can I jump into that?
Yeah.
What Chris said is true. There's a question of demand and a question of supply. Supply demand is
Right.
so.
In Thailand, like you said, you're making $10 a day and paying $4 a gallon for fuel. There is a serious demand for
Yeah,
fuel.
but the problem is with this that in Thailand the government gets its revenue from exactly this, from that what you pay on taxes. Okay, so I did use today the conversation compare between now you're a farmer and you have cattle. So what if the cattle of Wayne decides, no, I don't need